Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate you guys so much. Today we're going to be looking at something that I feel is going to be a very interesting aspect of the Spider-Man 2 game. Now, for many of us, we've seen that very short reveal. It says a lot. One thing about Spider-Man, and a character like him, is you don't have to show too much to tell a lot. You just got to show the important things. And I think a lot of the fans and even comic book fans, even children sometimes, can even tell what they think is going on. In fact, let me throw down just this little story. Please indulge me. I've been watching the first Spider-Man movie with Sam Raimi with my kids. They're very little, so it's a lot of coordination. I got to be like, hey, look away, don't look here. And even before the very first time they got to see the Green Goblin, they were following the story so well that from all their little kitty cartoons and learning to read books that are about Spider-Man, they could already tell who the villain was based on the story and the plot lines, the way Sam Raimi was telling it. So it was interesting to see the kids, very little kids, by the way, under 10 years old, being able to recognize some of the characters as they saw the plot lines being formed. So that was actually pretty cool. Now, for us adults looking at the Spider-Man 2 game, we already saw that trailer, and we probably have a very strong idea what we think that trailer was telling us. I'm not saying we already know what the entire game is about. That would be a huge stretch, but at least you can glean that there is for some reason, a theme that will go with this Spider-Man game. And to me, it seems like it's going to be a dark theme. Now, there's something about the horror, storytelling aspect for the superhero, TV shows and comics and whatever. And this is an area that hasn't necessarily been explored in the cinematics and even in the video games. So first of all, the video games have tried to at least appeal to a very wide range of people. You know what I mean? So, you make a Spider-Man game, you want to make sure you get it in the hands of as many people as possible. But in terms of Batman, I think the Arkham games were able to tap into that directly, with Arkham, Asylum being very dark, Arkham City being somewhat dark and starting to lighten up a little bit. And then Arkham Knight was, in my opinion, not as dark as the other two. So it appeared that there was a lightening up of the dark themes that you could basically see in a lot of these particular forms of media when they're telling stories from a superhero perspective. I strongly believe that the team at Insomniac want to actually introduce the theme of a dark setting for the Spider-Man game, the Spider-Man 2 game, where we're going to be seeing both Spider-Man, Peter Parker and Miles Morales, which we got to see them in the trailer, and we also got to see a very small hint of the Venom. Also, we're going to be seeing some version, possibly, of the Goblin, and I think this is where that dark aspect is going to really shine. The Venom already is a dark character in a sense. I know when you watch the Venom movies that have been done in the past, few years, it almost feels like they lightened it up with a lot of comedic effect and whatever it is. But in all reality, it's kind of one of those things where the Venom itself has to be a character that is depicted in that kind of a way. If you go back and look at, say, Spider-Man, the old Spider-Man game, Web of Shadows, they put you in a situation where you have multiple endings based on your choices. And so it's a good and evil type of thing where you can go with the right side or the dark side. And I think that dark aspect has to be highlighted, not necessarily because the team only wants to do that, but because of the characters that we're seeing in it. Now, one thing that is still being hypothesized is if the Venom is going to be a possible protagonist or side, friendly character after a while, or if he's going to be kind of a hostile antagonist in a sense. I think these are some of the aspects that they probably have to consider because, if you're going to be discussing all of this, you have to really show what exactly your characters are going to stand for. If you remember Miles Morales, they put the character in a position where you kind of thought, some of the characters were probably going to be redeemed and thought some characters were probably going to continue to be in their really terrible state, but they were able to tell the story very well and stay faithful to the literature. So at the end of the day, even though they may be able to tell the story to the direction that they want to, it's something where I strongly believe that the theme that they've shown in that reveal is going to really drive a lot of the storytelling and the plot lines. But here's what's more interesting. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think we're gonna have a dark theme that is close to some sort of a horror, type exploration, or something that's actually pretty mature that we can't necessarily find, in some of the other games? Or do you think it's something that it's just the trailer that was there for hype and effect, but it might be a game that has a much more wider and broader appeal? Talk to me in the comment section. I'm really curious to know what you guys think. All right, that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks so much for all your participation. Thank you so much for your support. It really does mean a lot to me in terms of the work that we do here. All right, that's it for me. Peace out.